going and quitting. So, and I've had plenty of moments like that with Tyler, Daniel, George, Kevin, especially Kevin and George. Oh my God, over at Ostrom. So, it wasn't all for nothing over there to where I'm at now, to where I know that this first week, people are talking. And it's one of those things that when people talk, you almost can sense that people are talking negative about you. But I know after that first week, people are talking like, this freaking kid, I want him on our job, or whatnot. I know. Because I know.
So I want to tell you something.
On top of it.
I'm going to give you some really good advice.
Okay. Send it.
Do not get to the point where, let me back up. Good advice.
Okay.
Go in there and do your job and do it well.
Yep.
Okay? But don't do it so much to where they depend on you to be the horse.
Mm.
What I used to do when I would go into work, I'd be like, yeah, I can do it. Boom, 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 boom. And then there were days that I just didn't feel like doing it. I'd had a bad day. I had a fight with my girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. And I didn't live up to that expectation anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if I could run So if I could run 70 foot of pipe in an hour, just efficiency, I would only run 30 for them. Because then when they needed me, I could speed up, and then I was more valuable.
Interesting. That's so weird. Well, it's a different dynamic because it's always like, do your best, go. And
do your best. I tell people, do your best, but don't go so far to like they have an expectation that you're going to run 100 foot of pipe every hour. Scale it back a little bit. You ask on the job, what's the average somebody can run pipe? I bet you I can beat them and lose. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever. But then you know the average. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you can keep up with the average. And then when it gets down to the end of the day, they need somebody to stay for overtime, and they choose you one day, that's when you kick it into high gear. Because then you get chose for all the overtime, all the good jobs, all those things.
That's so weird. It's so weird. Like, okay. And that's hard to gauge. Like, for me and my like, where I'm at, like, when I mentally think about that idea, it just, to me, I'm like, it's all or nothing. Like, right. It's Nerf, all or nothing. So, that's why I'm like, it's either, all right, I'm lazy as shit, or now you're just excellent, and you're just burnout mode, right? And just going. And so that's where I'm like, now what you're telling me is to gauge it in between, and that's so hard to do.
It is, because you want to give your 125%.
Yes.
I want to give my 125%.
Yeah.
At my job right now, at the mall, it's the same thing I do there. When I first started, no, I was not like, raw. I just went in and did just what they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
Okay? But see, because I did that, this past year, they was like, hey, could you pick up a couple extra hours here and there, right? And I was like, sure. And then as the hours became a little more, now I still get the same amount of hours, but I'm not working as hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's a good thing. That is a very good thing, because they see me as an asset. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went in there and I done what I was supposed to do. I lended a hand when they needed it. And then remember I was telling you the other week how they were taking cameras and photos and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
When I stood up for myself, because they knew I did a good job. When I went in and I did my job like they asked me to, they didn't have to worry about me trying to run 500,000 miles an hour and not getting stuff accomplished. They knew if they gave me a set of goals, those were going to get done. And if I didn't feel like that couldn't be met expectations, I would tell them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm an asset to them. So I get hours all the time because I do, but they also up my responsibilities at night a little bit. I have to do a little bit more around the mall a little bit more, which is fine. I mean, I'm supposed to take care of the floors. So everywhere there's a floor, they should have me doing it. And they haven't had me doing it for a while, but now they are. They're trying to make sure they keep my hours up. See what I'm saying? I become an asset. You're expendable because if you're expendable when you run yourself ragged. Because as soon as you can't do it no more, you got to go. Because they need it done. They need it done.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not telling you to go in and sit down, but I'm not telling. I'm telling you, do your best, Tommy. You be the best electrician, because I am one of the best electricians that you'll ever come across. Because I remember everything. I could take you to just about every single job I've ever been on, and if you're a good electrician, you could probably picture the wire in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have X-ray vision in that wall, right?
Yep.
I'm the same way. We can go to FYE at the mall, right? Or what used to be FYE at the mall. It's H&M now. I can walk and I can line it up from the window to where it was, and I can look up to the ceiling, and I can see some 1-inch conduit running down, taking a left, running. It's in my mind. I can know it. I don't even have to be up in that ceiling to know that it's there. I could send somebody up there and be like, oh, wow, that's amazing. How do you remember that? Because I'm a good electrician, you know?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be the best electrician. I didn't want it just to be some flyby craziness.
Yeah.
But people knew that when I got on the job, I was dependable. If I said I was going to do something, we was going to pull some wire, you didn't have to worry about it. I'm there pulling wire. There was times I would scale up the straight side of the wall. You'll get into some of the metal buildings, and they'll have those purlins that run across. Mm-hmm. I would scale them just to get wire, just to get stuff done on overtime. Wow. Overtime. Crazy. They knew, They knew if they called me into overtime, I'm getting it. Boy, I'm going to get it. I'm going to show off. That's when my show off time.
How is that? So how does that translate for you as far as is it to the mental mindset? Because like you're saying, I feel like some people can start out with that, and that's where I'm like strengthened enough mentally to think this isn't going to happen, and I will just continue on the pace that I'm at with how quality and just he knows what he's doing and thinking ahead and being efficient like that.
Yeah.
To keep that motivation going, because I think like some people it dies. You know what I'm saying? Like where you start out with that, but then over time, maybe it is just the burnout, like you're talking about.
It's a burnout. I'm telling you, I've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through it. I've been on them big scale jobs and just work, be the workhorse. They used to call me Gorilla Biscuit because I'd run up and down steps all the time. I mean, I was doing a lot of cocaine back then, but anyways, that's besides.
Yeah.
I'd hit a bump and be like, woo! Then hit another bump. Woo! You know, I was just all over the place, boy.
What did you say, Gorilla Biscuit?
Yeah, they used to call me Gorilla Biscuits. They said that I packed so much of a punch that I reminded them of the Quaaludes back in the 70s, that they were the big, huge Quaaludes that would just knock you out. But when Gorilla Biscuit got on the job, it was getting done. They would see, that's the other thing. It wasn't just about the job that I was on. It was about the other jobs that I could go to on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And overtime on commercials, that's what you want because it's easier. I'm just saying it's easier. It's a lot. When I say easier, it's a lot more laid back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just chill.
Chilled, yeah.
You just chill. You're trying to get it done. You're there.
You probably don't have other trades there,
right?
In the damn way all the time.
I wanted to be there, so I made sure that after a certain amount of time, after I get done with my apprenticeship, probably 2 years after I get done with somewhere around in there, I realized that. That's when I realized it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when I realized that I needed to scale back and started to think about how to do that. But I had done it for 5 or 6 years. So running pipe, I already knew how much, a person should averagely run it's about 100 foot an hour. You should be able to run 100 foot of pipe in an hour. That's with a connector, a box, and your couplings in between. It's only 10 couplings.
Yeah.
And you can pre pop the one side.
Yeah.
And if you got a strap every 10 foot, but 12 inches coming out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so zippets.
I mean, you just
or whatever.
Yeah, you just 100 foot of pipe every hour. That's what Now, if you had some 90s offsets, rolling offsets, stuff like that, you could probably do about 50 foot an hour. And so that's something you want to learn. Learn how to bend pipe, Tommy.
Well, that's what they're having me do. Yeah.
If I could probably get pipe looking just as good as you could do some Romex cable.
Oh yeah.
I know I can without a shadow of a doubt. I still remember how to bend it.
Yep. Well, that's the thing. That's what I told him in the interview, that if you sent me to do that, I'm not going to know how. So someone's going to have the patience to teach me, and then go from there and just go and to where I get that. And that's going to be like, I'm thinking of it now that I'm very excited, because now it means I could do almost not everything, but almost everything. Because
if you can run
so much, it's so, like, okay, residential, you could take. Well, he was saying you could take a residential guy, learn commercial, but you can't always take a commercial guy to learn residential.
No, it takes a special electrician to go from commercial to residential. Mm-hmm. Because if you've been doing commercial, you're used to 3-phase, you're used to black, red, blue,
and
or
piping.
brown, orange, yellow. You know, you're used to that. So when you scale down to residential, it's only a black and a red and a neutral. Or a black, red, neutral, and a ground. It depends on where you're at in the residential.
Yeah.
But the grounding doesn't make sense to a commercial electrician on a house.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When you come out of the commercial side and you go to a house, it's the grounding and the neutrals that screw every commercial electrician up. I experienced that. Remember? I told you. Yeah. I experienced that. I burned up all those devices.
Yeah.
I would come out of commercial and did some residential, and I didn't fully understand what the neutrals. I've been to school, I know all that, and I knew the load, I knew all of that stuff.
Yeah,
and it didn't make no sense, because I would do a 120 from the hot to the neutral. You know, I was 240 across, but I didn't have it bonded. On the commercial site, you bond at the panel. That's it. You're pulling grounds. That's it. Once you ground that pipe, you got to ground everywhere. And a neutral will share 3 circuits.
Crazy.
Which is totally different than residential. That's what messes up a lot of commercial. What is it? 3. You can use a black, red, and a blue on one neutral and a ground, right? You get to commercials, to commercial, go to residential, they'll keep that same mindset, 3 circuits, 1 neutral.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. See, I'm saying that's
Yep.
that. And it's not that they don't know what they're doing. They get on the job and they're trying to apply work practices from the commercial site to the residential site.
Yep.
Can't do that.
That's what he was saying, that he could take a residential guy and make him a commercial and be very well versed.
Oh,
and
my
he's also telling me
gosh.
that he wants me also to go with the generator guys and learn all the generators, because they do a lot of residential generator. And so I'm like, dude, put me on it all. Like, I don't give a damn. I'll be the best dude that's for everything, you know.
That's what I was telling you the other week. Automated controls, PCV, PCP cabinets, all of that stuff, and e-stops. I mean, everything. Down at Kicker, Virginia, at the bleach plant here, I rewired a bunch of their conveyor systems to be automated. But here's the kicker. I learned residential, and then I became a commercial. It's something about learning that and taking it to the commercial side that helps you. It's a lower voltage, and everything's a device.
Yeah.
And everything has a switch. In a commercial site, not everything has a switch. It just has a breaker.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're having a high voltage here at the commercial, and you're already used to putting in switches. So if I handed you an e-stop and said it was a 3-way, well, you would know how to do that. It wouldn't matter what this e-stop was, because the points are the same, right? Yeah. And you know how to do that. Why? Because of a 3-way. You could do a 4-way. How many 4-ways can you put in between 2 3-ways?
As many as you need.
As many as you need. So guess what a 4-way is? An e-stop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Crazy.
It's good that you went to the residential and then because your mind
and residential service at that too.
Gosh.
Like that. Like, I don't know if Kyle would have known how to fish that into the box like we did. I just grabbed a piece of wire and get it in there. I don't know what he would have, if he would been like, shoot, we got a problem now, or I don't know what he would have ran into. But and what another beautiful thing with MC, I'll tell you, was when you're trying to fish Romex in that same fashion, you can't always get a damn connector in there. But with MC, that thing's strapped to it, so when you're pulling it in, and it's right there, and you lock that, and that's it. Done. That's it. Beautiful. Yep. Absolutely. And I'm like, great. So you don't have to worry about, oh no, we don't have a connector in here.
Nope.
It's illegal. Like, it's already in there, and you just put it in, and you're good to go. I mean, It's beautiful.
It's
Absolutely.
totally different experience.
Yeah.
It's totally different experience.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, if you can keep that mindset, if somebody said to you, "Hey Tommy, I need you to wear our e-stop." All right, the only thing you really care about then is what gauge, what colors, and what goes to where, because you already done it with the 4-way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And with the you'll have what are they called? No, they're not e-stops, but they're the it's going to bother me, but it's the 3-way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the on off, because you have an on at the beginning of the conveyor and an off at the beginning of the conveyor. The e-stops is just to stop the conveyor from anywhere, but you have your power at one end or the other.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
The only thing is different is that you're not powering a light bulb. You're powering what? A conveyor or a motor. And it doesn't even matter what size motor, because you're using just the control wires just to turn it on. So the motor could be 480, 3-phased, and that's it. You're using 120 volts or 12 volts. It doesn't matter. You use a contactor. I mean, the endless supply of knowledge that you can maintain as long as you remember. You can have as many 4-ways in between 2 3-ways. And single pole switches still act the same on and off.
Yep. That is wild.
I was a commodity and an asset, because I knew how to work. I knew what I was doing, and I did it well. I didn't take any shortcuts that I remember today.
Yeah.
That I won't say on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I will say this one. There was a time where I was at a facility here locally, and we was trying to fish some wire. Mm-hmm. Well, they couldn't do it because the way the wall was made, you just couldn't do it. You couldn't set a box. There was nothing to put the box to or anything. So we made a joint, put a 4-way box, put a 4-square in there, put a ground. I mean, we made it up completely legal, right? Put some 2-sided tape and some glue and stuck it on the back of the back inside the wall where the sheetrock was.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so here's the sheetrock. Here's the sheetrock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the box. We just kind of stuck it. I mean, you couldn't see it because, the outside here.
Yeah.
But it was still, we just kind of stuck it on the back, the end of it. Which is fine, because the chances are if it ever happened, it was just one wire. So it wasn't like a whole bunch of circuits or anything.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In some places, you're going to get to a point where it's like, all I need is I've run 250 foot of MC cable. All I need is 3 foot. And that was a problem. It couldn't come all the way down, but the way the wall was, we needed more MC to go up and over and down. Well, that meant to get a whole new roll of wire and pull all that out that we just pulled through the ceiling. No. So get a 4-square, ground screw, all of it. It's just a black, white, and a green, Mm-hmm. Put the cover on it, stuck it, and it's still there today. I know exactly where it's at. I'm not going to say that or disclose that on the radio station today.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that's some of the things that I say in those commercial areas and stuff like that. You're going to have situations like that. You're going to be on overtime. Inspector's not coming. Okay? This is overtime work, so it's time and material. So it doesn't get checked. So sometimes I'm not saying that you should. You should not. By the way, this is the Watchmen Experience.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. I'm glad that you're here. We haven't even told everybody what. We just all live in the conversation.
Yeah.
But if you can, that's why he told you come from residential and go over. Mm-hmm. That's why he's like generators, boom, 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 boom. Because if you can get it, you got it.
I'll be a very valuable asset.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was on top of a cooler. I'll never forget it. T-Gun, I'll never, ever forget it. I was on top of a cooler running some 1/2 inch, and I only had, this was the top of the cooler right here, mm-hmm. and I could just barely, at 21 years old, I was, still about the same size. I could just barely kind of roll around just to pull the wire, and then you had to kind of strip the wire. It was just very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I got frustrated, and I set my tools down, and I laid there for just a few minutes, and I was thinking about what we were doing, and it hit me. I understand electricity now. Bam. It was in that moment I understood what I was doing. I was controlling electricity. You know what I'm saying? I was controlling it. I was running some 4-ways on top of a cooler, but I understood it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that moment in time. It's like, I got it. I've never forgot it since then.
Yeah.
All we're doing with electricity
was that
is
after
control.
the inauguration of Lincoln, or before the shot?
It was
around
right
the
before.
world?
It was right before. It was right before the Gettysburg Address.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, we was actually on that train as he was writing it.
Yeah.
It was right before the Gettysburg Address. He wanted a cold one, and I couldn't get it to him fast enough.
And that's the problem. So did you have to write him again with feather and ink back to him? Yep. That's what we do here.
That's the old Abe.
Oh, dude, that was I got it worse though, because when I was meeting the guys and talking to them and riding one-on-one, there had been 3 people that thought that I was 32 or 34. I'm not kidding you.
It's good.
I'm not.
Don't ever tell them any different. I mean, unless they come out and ask you.
Yeah.
But don't ever tell them no different. Just let them think whatever they want to.
They were like, it's the gray hair. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
when I'm your age, they would have thought I come from Moses or something. Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. As we talk about this and with learning experiences and how we teach people stuff, I went to I needed to just go and be with some like-minded people today, and so my uncle, he goes to a Valley Word, and so I went out there today to just break away, and so while I was out there, Tommy, these people be copying the crap out of us. They have their own app.
Really?
Yeah. And let me tell you how I know, because the people that go to Valley Word are my uncle. There's some people that used to come here.
Really?
Yeah. And I would almost bet you that the pastor watches us sometimes because he was using some of the words that we use, like stoked. How many people that use stoke? Right. Me. I'm all stoked up. I let's get stoked about it. Anyways, we make an influence. There are people watching us, man. And it's like when you're doing your electrical work, there are going to be people watching you. You'll never know they're watching you, dude, because you'll be up in a lift and they'll just be standing down there watching. You know how many guys I've watched just standing there? So I'll be smoking a cigarette, just watching them. A lot.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot.
A lot.
What would you be looking for? Just
how much time they were screwing off. That's all I'd be looking for. I mean, of course, they're 30 foot in the air. I can only very, very, very productively look at just if the pipe's straight or not.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was doing, watching them run pipe and, watching them run that purlin, Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So people will watch and they'll take your work practices, just like here at the movement. People are going to take our work practices and use it for them because they see something value in it. The message that this particular person brought today was something that we talked about not only years ago, but just a couple months ago. We were talking about how we always give too much credit to the devil.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
They were preaching about that today. I was like, for one, thank you, Jesus, that we are influencing the Roanoke Valley. They may never give us any credit like we give Joe Rogan credit because, we the Watchmen Experience, and we did get that from you, Joe. Mad props. We love you. And anytime you're ready to come to Jesus, you just let me know and we can work that out.
Yeah, of course.
But it's cool to see that stuff because they were promoting it on the stage, right? The pastor was, if you go get the app, we have a reading plan. And I looked it up on Apple iOS, and the reason why it comes from the same.
He's got an elephant.
No.
Okay.
But it comes from the same people that we work, Subsplash. That's how I know it. But it's good. I'm glad that they used the idea. They do have they have a lot of resources over there, so they can, probably pay somebody to really make it good. And I hope that they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the whole part about capitalism and things like that. If we have an idea and somebody else has the resources, well, it's okay. That's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't hate on it. We don't want to be haters. We want them to hate on us. So, we influence a lot of people around here. You just never know until you go out and into the public and, look at what happens in other church buildings and things like that. And I saw it and I was like, wow, thank you, Jesus. If me and T-Gun and the Movement Ministries are pioneers for people, thank you, Jesus. I take that. I take that any day of the week. Because just like you're going to be a good electrician, you'll take that to the grave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You'll take that to the grave. Nobody can ever take that from you. And if we can influence somebody, they can never take that. They never give us credit. Nobody may never give you credit on how great your electrical work is. But you know what? You can sit at home and say, man, I made that light come on. Do you know why I'm able to do all of this stuff right here?
Because you did the controls.
Ah!
See, I even went to where I know it would have came from.
That's how I understand Switcher. That's how I understand all of the stuff.
PC was a PC, PLC.
PLCs.
PLC, yeah.
PLC cabinets.
When you said, yeah, and that's because doing your wiring like you've done, it's not going to help you with software type setup type stuff. But that will.
Yes, it does. It sure does. All it is PLCs talking to one another.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all they're doing. They're talking to one another. They're just talking in a code. I'm not writing the code for these. I wrote the code for some of the PLCs that I've done stuff for, and that's cool. But that's how I'm able to understand what we're doing. That's why it's still intriguing to me, because we could do so much more with technology than what we even do here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But we don't. For one, we don't have all that, the resources, and for two, we're not trying to do it like that. We just want to preach the gospel. We just want to hang out. We want to show people that this is how we want to be for God. I took some notes listening to that one guy today, as he was talking about giving the devil too much credit. It also reminded me of why we are very much present and needed, because it was that same old motivational name it and claim it and blame it.
Today?
Yeah, and it kind of mixed it in. It kind of mixed it in. It was like, why did you do that? You was preaching pretty good, man. I was here. I got up and left early because it was why?
Where was this at again? Did you
Valley
say?
Word.
I'm not sure where that's at.
It's over there off of Plantation. It's a pretty cool place. I mean, I was talking to my uncle today, and I was telling him I like to sometimes just come out and just chill out with some fellow believers, I told him I ain't trying to be a member or anything like that. Sometimes it's just nice,
Yeah.
And when the message gets too much, I can just leave, because
started off good.
Oh yeah, man! I was like, I was taking notes and everything. You know what I'm saying? And then it started that name it, the devil's under your foot, and I was like, I really was. I was like,
man.
Really? Why did you do that? You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. Great message alone, but that's the. I was talking to a lady last week, and I probably spent 4 hours with these two ladies last week and talking to them about the word and talking to them about what we know and what we believe and who we are. They're like, why ain't anybody else talking about this stuff? I was like, because people here in Roanoke, they don't want to hear the truth. I have learned that over and over again, that people here in this facility called Roanoke, they don't want to do this thing called truth. Just like I went to Valley Word word and to hear all of that, I was like, he was like, we're going to build a building and it's going to be done by next year, and it's going to be it's going to be paid off and early, and we know it because we can manifest it because we know God can. I'm like, man, wow.
Valley Word.
Yeah,
Right
it's
off
good,
the plantation.
but it's a cool place to go.
Yeah, I'm just trying.
Good music, you know what I'm saying? I get there early so I can kind of talk to people and fellowship a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I get to worship and just hang out, you know, even if I'm just taking notes or I was taking notes for something else I was doing, you know?
Yeah.
I was looking at Facebook on some of it, you know, just a place to go. You know, I've always said it would be great for us as believers to have a place that we can just kind of go.
That reminds me, wasn't there a place that opened up? It was like a building that was being not renovated. You remember that long ago? I sat right there, standing, and you were telling me about it. That it was a building that was over near Gainesboro.
Yeah, I remember.
What happened with that?
It didn't pan out.
Okay.
Just didn't pan out.
Because I know you were like, man.
I would love that. Would have been great. A great place for us to be.
Did it get like sold or change of plans or what?
Let's just change of plans.
Okay.
Let's just leave it at that. But you know, that's the thing. Also, like I often think about talking to the mall and see if we can't rent out a spot at the mall, just to have a place to come hang out. Like set up a lounge type section down in the food court. Just set up a lounge, right? You can come in, hang out, have some music, have some computers, a place that you can just come and chill. You know, just literally come and chill. Got to pay $5 at the door. Wi-Fi, all that stuff is free. You can bring your food in, all of that. For believers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It would be kind of cool to have that atmosphere that we could just come and have a place to hang out. I don't think I'd do it in the mall, but that's not to say I wouldn't do it in the mall. Who knows? But I think it would just be kind of cool. That's why I went to Valley Word today, was just to have a place to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to hang out at the bars. I'm not trying to hang out at the clubs or nothing like that. No. So it was good. It was good. And it was good to also see that we are potentially influencing a lot of people.
You almost need like a daggone moose lodge.
That would be awesome, dude.
Can you imagine if there was like I don't want to say run down, but let's say something that was not completely run down, but doesn't need to be completely new, just usable, and then it's just like the Moose Lodge is up and left, and it's you can rent it for $300 a month or something, just
that
rent or buy or whatnot, and then it would already have like everything set up to where there's a little bar. I'm not saying you go in there and get hammered, but I'm just saying like you have things set up as far as if you need a place to make food or what. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. That's what we need as believers, a place to go for that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have that. The only place we can truly get that right now is at a church building.
Yeah.
They have I think they have something like Christian Cafe on Sunday nights, I think. Something like that. But I don't know where it's at. Cafe Christian, I don't know. But you can come in, it's at a restaurant. They have people that go up and do spoken word. They'll play the instrument. But it's for believers. I mean, other people.
Is that the place that I went to?
No,
before?
No.
The big building. You remember the big? I mean, it was like right when I came back, and they had like what used to be a restaurant downstairs.
Yeah, that was it. But not that particular place, but yeah.
I wonder what. Yeah, there's a lot of history. I get fascinated with the history of like the buildings and stuff. So like, that restaurant back in the day or whatnot. Like, I think that's fascinating. Just
the more that you do electrical work, the more that you'll have appreciation for buildings.
Yeah.
It'll just fascinate you, because it fascinates me still to this day for some places that built some places even here in Roanoke. I saw when I was doing a lead abatement job, there was true 2x4s caught on fire, and because they were true 2x4s, they still let pass code. Isn't that crazy? The char on the wood wasn't deep enough, because now regulation 2x4 is what? 1 3/4.
Oh. To where, yeah, it's not an actual like 2x4. It's just what everyone calls it.
Yes, but these had actually 2x4s in it. So, just like I was telling you about drilling a hole, you could eliminate some of that, and it still be passable. It's crazy, but that's just some of the structures that people built back in the day. That was hardwood, good wood that you could build and it would last.
Yeah.
Now. Today, no,
it blow over.
But I do like the history fact of a lot of stuff. That does as a driving point.
Yeah, especially like some of those big churches and downtown buildings. Like I don't like on YouTube they have some videos of like, oh, this is Roanoke in the 1950s, 60s, 70s or whatnot. Probably more or less where they were filming it, probably 60s and 70s.
Yep.
Where they have Valley View getting built and like the overhead footage of that whole area where it's a perfect circle. Yeah, it's just, to me, that's cool. And some of the streets, like, oh, this is 9th Street or whatever. This is Shenandoah Avenue. But you would never know it from the film because of how much it's aged and things have been built and torn down. Like, it's cool. Yeah,
and that's the thing about it too, is that if you go back and you appreciate the buildings, you can learn about a history.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool to learn about history. That's one of the things I loved about New Orleans, because it was nothing but filled with history.
Oh yeah,
dude. Some of the architecture is just so beautiful to see it still. Some of these places were built back during slave trade days and stuff like that, and they're still there. Like some places you could go, and the bollards that would come up and down, in front of some of the churches, or the paint was so thick on some of them that the ridges was just kind of like humps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, those bollards, they usually have like some deep ridges that, kind of have a ruffle around. And they've been painted so many times. But that's just how beautiful architecture and building was back in the day, But there was a craft.
Yeah. There's pride in your work. There's craft. It's not trying to get it done to get it done, and then shit fails,
And that's what I was saying to you. When you go in, make sure that, and I know you do, just make sure you do good quality work, because you will travel. You will have experiences, Tommy, you'll never, ever have if you just stay with wanting to be here. I encourage you to be the best electrician, and they'll call you on. I mean, even if it's just to do a job in Bristol, Tennessee. When was the last time you've been to Bristol, Tennessee?
Not for a while.
You know what I'm saying? You just go and get away from everybody and go enjoy Bristol, Tennessee while you're working. And see that architecture. Probably be on a college, I would say, but you have endless amounts of opportunity. One of the reasons why I got into doing electrical work is because somebody somewhere needs a light bulb changed.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody somewhere. I don't care. Put me in Italy. It's 50 hertz, and the only thing that's really different is how they plug it in. It's not 60 hertz. It's 50 hertz.
Oh.
It does make a big difference. And they use 208. They don't use no 120. They used to, which is good. That's efficiency. Yeah. That's truly efficiency. Like, actually, 120 is the most horrible electricity we could ever have, because it draws so much power.
There's so many people that still go, that was it 110?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, nah, that was long ago, buddy. Long ago.
A long time ago.
That was a long time. Now it's, well, they say 120, but it not like it matters. It hovers around 125.
Yeah.
Some places 130, depending on the phase.
But that's such a dirty electricity. It just is. It's not efficient.
That'd be interesting to me, even when you say that. I believe you, but I'm like, what is making it so horrible? Is it just the step-down transformers?
You just saw that light come on and off.
It's been doing that all day.
That's because something come on, because something drew. That's why it's dirty.
Oh, so it's not because you have pretty much a not amp draws, but a like surging almost kind of going on.
Because this will come on, and it's not that a house was badly wired or anything. It's just that 120 volts is not the best of efficiencies.
Yeah.
Do 208 or 220 or something like that, way better. But you have to drop it down to 50 hertz. You got to have a different plug. Everything's different,
Interesting.
But you can travel. If you can understand some of that stuff, you got an Uglies book?
I do.
Get you an Uglies book. Get you an Uglies book.
Yeah, I got one. Yep.
It'll show you everything you need to know on the job. Your box feel, your pipe feel, all of that. Show you how to bend. You probably done went through it. You know.
Well, I've briefly glanced through it, but I got it along with the 2020 code book.
Did you?
Yeah. That way I would have both, because I know that they're very useful. So.
Yes.
Which I think they even have them in stores near the Klein section.
They do.
So.
Lowe's has them too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Lowe's.
where I got that freaking hunk of junk of reamer. Dude, when that bar come out of there, the actual reaming portion of that tool, I go in and I'm about to ream a half inch and it goes. I'm like, oh, I was hot. I was pissed. I'm like, this is why I just stick with Klein's. I went out to Lowe's to get that, and Lowe's carries that Ideal and Cobalt stuff, which if you're using just like pliers and stuff, like the channel locks and things, like that don't freaking matter what brand it is. You ain't got to have Klein everything. But on the important stuff, yeah, Klein all the way. Linemen, side cutters, everything. Down a needle nose. All that stuff. Your control, I went and got a control screwdriver because we needed that.
That's what I was telling you.
Little $10 kind of. But that stuff, you got to watch it, though, because it'll take you nothing to snap those bits, especially the flatheads.
Hey, you can't use them for nothing but literally for controls.
Yeah.
That's all you can use them for.
But even so, like when you're wrenching down on even a little, like when we were wiring in that box I was telling you, I had to wire that in, and it had, little set screws, little tiny, strip it perfectly, set it in there, but you still can't wrench it down. You still got to be real gentle. Still get it tight, but
you can only, with the controls, all you can do is get just tight.
Just tight, yep.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah. Because
that little tip will just do a little twisty freaking.
Either strip that or break the freaking bit, and that'll be the end of it. Yep.
Yes, it will.
That was only $10. Thank the Lord, but I got that. That was another thing. It's not out there because I had just got it. But yeah, I mean, that's why you got to stick with Klein. Let me guess. That was all that was not captured.
That went dead. That's all right, though. That's all right.
We're still on the radio, right?
No.
Not at all.
No, that's the radio right there.
Gone. Well,
it's all right, though.
The most of it was electrical talk, so.
No, I mean, but that's.
Still.
It's the Watchmen Experience. This is what it's about. We are believers in Jesus Christ. We love the Lord. We're trying to serve the Lord. We're trying to be men for Christ. We chill, hit a vape. I mean, here, let me hit it. Yeah. I mean, it's just what it is. Nothing going to kill you. Somebody told me today that, in which I believe, that we have to make sure that everything we're doing resembles Christ, right? Yeah. And some people would say, like me, hitting that's not really pastoral there, buddy. I'm like, why is it not? Yeah. Why is it not? When Jesus drank wine with his disciples. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did not get drunk. He did not have a problem with drinking. Yeah. But he sat back. And I think if Jesus was, I think there is no scriptural backing up what my thoughts are. This is completely fabricated. I just want everybody to know this is completely fabricated off of the mind of me, Simply DJ.
Yeah.
All right?
You got it.
I think that if Jesus was here today, he may actually, he may smoke a cigar with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he will. So they're going to hate me for that. But that's okay. Hate all you want. But I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying he wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're smoking cigars. I've got to run away. You're not. You don't look like me."
He's not sending you to hell. And you look at the disciples; they were not the cleanest, the most shiniest, the most brightest, the most. They were still human. So when you're going into situations like, especially if you're trying to reach the other side, the other people. So you have the churchgoers, right?
Right.
Oh, we looking all pretty clean, and yet when they leave those church doors, they're gonna act completely different. They're gonna get drunk. They're gonna smoke this. They're gonna do all this crazy stuff. Gonna have porn addiction. The list goes on and on and on for men and women. I don't give a damn. Both, right? But when you start to try and reach out to the other side, the actual broken, the actual lost, the actual hurting people, yeah. If we're going to go on the corner street and start talking to people, and maybe it won't be 100% right to take from somebody that is of lower economic status, but if they were to be like, "Here, you want a Marlboro here?" Like, hell yeah, I want 'em.
Daggone.
And then that person would be more welcome and comfortable to sit, talk, and BS with you than somebody that's, almost like dressed how you're dressed there. Sorry there, bud. But
and here's the thing. Let's say that we were out talking.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Because of who I am and because I'm as a pastor, I'm willing to have a vape or whatever. I'm not afraid of it. Whatever. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
All right. And let's say that I am on the street corner. And let's say a guy says, "Hey, man, you want to smoke? And you talk about Jesus all you want." I may take that cigarette, and I may just pack it. I may just play with it. You know what I'm saying? I may never even smoke it. But I will never discard it. I'll never tell him no in that moment because there's no reason to.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we should go out here and be like promoting smoking because we're not. I'm not promoting any of it. But that's also too, it's a fine line and it becomes a slippery slope when people start talking about the lettuce, tomato, and green peppers and onion gang. Mm-hmm. When you start talking about that so there is a fine line to say, I'm not going to go to a drag show to bring people to Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not probably going to sit around and talk about makeup with a drag person. Okay? Guess who may be better fitted for that? A female. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With a male beside her, maybe that would be a way to reach somebody. Hey, you look at this eyeshadow, girl. Oh yeah, let me see that. Oh, did you know about if you lost,
it's kind of the same concept. Yeah.
It's the exact same concept.
Well, here, I'll give it to you like this. So I went to right before I got hired. I went to Super Shoe. I may go back there today to see if they have anything for Carhartt.
Right.
Because they don't have uniforms. I don't have a company tee, but I got all Carhartt stuff. Spent like $100-some on this stuff because I knew I'm going to be working in it. It's going to get torn up, and this is the stuff I want because it's built for that. It's literally built to be work clothes. Mm-hmm. And I'd be damned if I didn't go into that Lewis Gale, and not only are the electricians from my company, but every other freaking company in that building all had a Carhartt stamp on their freaking pants. Somewhere, whether it was a sweatshirt. Hell, one of the guys had the same sweatshirt I had. Was all Carhartt. So did I seem out of place? No, I blended right in and could talk along with anybody. Didn't show up looking like an idiot. Like you see what I'm saying? So
no.
Like
it's
blend in.
It's the we want to stand out, but we don't want to go so far as to acceptance.
Yeah. I didn't I didn't show up in like all pink.
Right.
All red or something crazy.
Right.
And be like, who's this freak?
Right. And so like I was going to say I was talking to these ladies last week. We spent about 4 hours. And they were talking to me about, they asked me all kinds of questions about divorce and about marriage. I mean, they just kept asking questions. They asked about the book of Enoch and, all these other things. But but I was relatable to them. These are two females. Why in the world would I be talking to two females? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was a purpose. We was there for a meeting, but the meeting ran long because we were talking about the word and all of this other stuff. And it makes you, it allows you to break barriers down when you politely say no, or, you're not judgmental on what somebody's doing. It breaks down those barriers to where you can talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what we really want to do, is be able to reach them. And it's hard. It's probably one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to reach somebody that's lost in those situations, And so, like, I believe that Jesus today, if he was hanging out with the people that were disciples, which he's not, so y'all can just back off. All right. He's not here. He's in heaven, right, actually. But anyways, if he was here, he wouldn't walk into a cigar. If the disciples were down here and somebody was smoking a cigar, he wouldn't just be like, put that out.
Yeah.
He may not smoke it.
Yeah, but he's it's going to be the last thing that is the least important. Like, who cares?
That's exactly.
There's more important matters to take care of than who's doing what.
Right. And that's what the Pharisees and the Sadducees was talking to Matthew when when Jesus actually sat down with them, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they said, "Well, you're this dude that y'all are following. Look at him. He's sitting down with the sinners, the drunks, and the gluttons, and the tax collectors, and all these other bad people." And that's when Jesus was like, "I came for them. They're the ones that need me."
Yeah.
You're self-righteous, and you say you don't need me, so I'm not going to come to you. I'm going to where I'm needed, and we don't believe in that anymore. I mean, I should say we don't strive for that anymore. Let's put it that way.
People go the fairy tale route.
Yes,
and they take that to the most extreme, to where they take that idea to the most extreme. That everyone's perfect, because like what? No. Sit down. Shut up.
Please.
It's not.
Please.
I don't know.
Yeah, because there's no reason for a lot of us to go through some of the things that we went through, because there's a stigma of this tradition. Like, you're hitting a vape. Oh God, that's not the end of the freaking world, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who cares?
Like, there's probably gonna be somebody that's watching this.
They're definitely having a heart attack. They're gonna definitely have a heart attack, because it's like, how can you be saying that? Well, I just did. I mean, it was pretty easy. It came out of my mouth pretty good. I didn't stutter, did I?